All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Good morning. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor. How are you today?
Very good. How are you today?
Fantastic.
Any unusual occurrences?
Not today.
Oh, thank goodness.
Smooth sailing. We have with us for the second week in a row, attorney Richard Finucci. Hello.
Hello, Jackie. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Rick.
Thanks for being here with us. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we talk real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many exceptional realtors who've been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for 50-plus years.
During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com, or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab and get a live view of Dunmore Corners 24 hours a day.
Or click on the radio tab and listen to recorded radio shows. A lot of the past shows are on there. Many. Some very, very few did not make the cut.
They're in the circular file.
Or you can search the MLS or view our listings by going to mobile-friendly jruddy.com, jruddy.com. Look us up on social media, also on the radio tab on jruddy.com, or all the popular podcast apps that we feature our radio show on. Okay, attorney Richard Finucci. How long have you been practicing law? Where do you practice it? And how does someone get in touch with you, please?
Thanks, Jackie, and thank you for having me back again. Delighted to be here. I've been an attorney 34 years. My office is located in Blakely in Lackawanna County, and our office primarily does a real estate. I'm a licensed title agent for 28 years. We also do a lot of estate administration and wills and estate planning. And I also do a lot of business and law and municipal law.
And you are, I have the pleasure of knowing you for those 34 years, and you are an exceptional attorney. And we really appreciate your time here with us 2 weeks in a row. And you're no stranger to the program. You've been here pre-COVID, we say, right? So prior to COVID, maybe 2018, 2019.
I believe you're right.
And then before that, he was on before that too.
Several times.
So, yes, we love having you back.
I feel like I'm in school when I sit here with Rick and he goes through everything. All right, yes. The bell is going to go off, so pay attention.
All right,
thank you.
So last week we covered sheriff sales and tax sales, and we talked about a lot regarding those two types of sales. However, I feel like we rushed through the tax sales, so can we just, at the beginning of the show here, talk about tax sales once again and a brief summary, and then I want to talk about, can you do inspections before you purchase them? Can you go and view them before you purchase them? And some of the pitfalls, please.
So, Jackie, with respect to both sheriff sales, and remember those were more of the foreclosure type sales that are sold pursuant to a judgment or a judgment creditor looking to take the property back, and a tax sale, which is sold by the Tax Claim Bureau for unpaid taxes. In both of those situations, it's very rare that a potential bidder will have an opportunity to go in and inspect the property. It's very few and far between. So you really need to know a lot. You got to do your homework. You need to look at the records. You need to do a title search. You need to try to find out as much as you can about the property and the prior owners, because there rarely is any opportunity to do an inspection. And more importantly, with both of these types of sales, sheriff sales and tax sales, you're buying the property as is always, and not having a chance to inspect it. It's beware what may lurk, what the problems that might be with the property.
Material defects.
Yes.
And also sometimes, very rarely, but you can assume occupants. You could get a property that you may not realize has occupants. And what happens then?
Well, in the case of a sheriff sale, if a person comes in and bids over the creditor and they take the property back, if the property has occupants, it's going to be your responsibility to get those occupants out. And usually the only way to do that is through court intervention, through legal action and ejectment action. Same with a tax sale. Once you're the bidder and the gavel, the successful bidder, and the gavel falls, you are now responsible for that property. That also means for insuring it, or it's going to be your loss.
And sometimes these properties, the condition of them, they can't get insurance.
Very true. Very true. Sometimes they're uninsurable.
Okay, so not for the timid, right?
Not at all. Not for the faint of heart. The best advice I can give to anyone who is seeking to purchase a property at either a sheriff's sale or a tax sale, particularly for a first-timer, is please hire a competent real estate attorney to assist you.
And they only take cash. You got to be paid by the end of the day, right?
Correct. The not the attorneys now.
No.
I was going to say that too, right?
The tax claim bureau only takes cash or certified checks. Same with the sheriff's office.
And it's same day you win the bid.
Yes, that day. In the sheriff's sale, you must pay the balance. You pay 10% at the time you make the bid, right there during the sale, and then you must be back by 2 p.m. the next day. You have to pay in full with the tax sales the same day, cash or certified check.
At one time, and I understand it's changed currently, but at one time when there was a sheriff's sale, it would take a long time for that new deed to be recorded. How long does it take these days?
It does vary. It depends on the creditor, because there are documents that the creditor needs to get to the sheriff's office in order for there to be a timely turnover on the deed. But it is up to the sheriff's department. And I must say, having been, and I am a solicitor for the sheriff's department, for Sheriff Mark McAndrew, we have a staff of 4 very, very experienced, competent attorneys who works the sheriff sales along with myself, and I have to say that we're doing our best to get these back. So right now, Jackie, probably 30 days to 60 days post-sale, we're seeing deeds being recorded.
That's a big improvement.
That is a huge improvement.
Sheriff McAndrew insisted on that.
Wonderful. Excellent. Good news. All right. So let's talk about title insurance. So various times through our discussion last week and then again just now, you've mentioned the importance of a title search, especially when it comes to sheriff sales and tax sales. But regarding any real estate sale, a title search, even if someone's paying cash, is something that should be done.
100%. Having a title search done is probably the most important thing a person needs to do when purchasing real estate. And it doesn't matter if this property was just sold a month before it's now being resold, or whether this property has been in someone's family for 50 years or more. In fact, I very often say those properties are often the kiss of death, because that tells me if it's been in the same family, handed down by 3 generations of prior owners, chances are there's never been a title search done, and those are the ones where we often will find problems. So understand that if you purchase a property, when you at the closing you get a deed, you buy the property, you now own it. You don't just take possession of the property that day. You take all of the baggage that is in the chain of title of your current owner, predecessor owner, and all of their predecessor owners, going back to the beginning of time. So all of that baggage that has been accumulating with this property, good or bad, is now yours. So a title search. Make sure that deed that you're getting, that piece of paper that the deed is written on, is worth the paper it's written on. It's abstract. It's very important. If you could have a property that is worth $1 million, and if the title is bad, it's worthless.
True. So lately I've been hearing a lot from our agents saying that there's been title issues that have been popping up on some of the transactions that we're involved in. And oftentimes in these situations, the agent says, there was just a title search. Why wasn't this picked up when they purchased the property 4 years ago?
Yep.
Do you find that sometimes things like, why would that be? Why would it be missed? Human error.
Human error is the most basic answer. Sometimes something pops up in the short intervention between the time of the closing and the time it gets sold, a month later. Anything could happen at any time. Again, so important to search the property every single time it's sold, no matter how long or how short since the prior sale.
What's the most common thing that comes up?
Yeah.
A lien.
A lien.
Yeah,
Okay.
unpaid tax,
So a lien.
judgment against someone.
Didn't they? We have a sewer lien on one of our properties or something one time from the water company. Somebody didn't pay a bill.
Probably the Scranton Sewer.
Yeah.
But since the Scranton Sewer Authority was sold and now it's PA American Water, is the sewer still lienable?
Not currently. However, liens that existed prior to the sale of the sewer authority to the PA American Water are still filed and still valid, and title companies need to get valid payoffs on those liens.
Okay. So the most common is a lien against the property. What about judgments?
So understand that anytime something happens to someone in the sense where they're sued and somebody successfully wins that lawsuit, a judgment is entered against them. So it could be for an unpaid credit card. It could be for a breach of a contract. It could be for a personal injury action. Ultimately, when you're sued, when you sue someone, you're looking to get a judgment. It's the judgment, when that's filed against someone, that will lien a property, and not just specifically to the property that a person may own, but any asset that a person has in their name will be now liened by the entry of a judgment with the court. Real estate, your bank accounts, and there are exceptions, but I'm specifically referring to a judgment entered against someone where the asset is in their name alone.
Alone. So if it's a husband and wife, it complicates it?
It actually makes it better because Pennsylvania has rules that say that a judgment creditor of one spouse cannot lien or garnish property that's owned jointly by husband and wife. So there is that's one of the benefits of marriage, where you are protected by the marital unit, where so if husband has a credit card judgment entered against him and the creditor cannot execute against a joint checking account that's in both names. So that's one example.
Okay, so
Or a house. They can't execute on a jointly owned house.
if someone gets married after they had a judgment, maybe.
What happens then?
It depends on the timing of when the judgment was entered. So if the judgment was entered before he got married or she got married, it would be still a valid lien. The second the judgment is filed with the court, it is now lienable against all the assets that is in that person's name at that time. Doesn't matter what happens later.
Okay.
And by the way, Jackie, a title search checks for those things. We look for judgments. We look to see if someone tried to say, well, I'm married now, so we transfer the deed, a week ago into both names, so they can't touch it. No, if that judgment existed prior to the transfer of the deed, it's still an item that's lienable on that property. And very important to have a title search done.
Agreed. And title insurance.
So in order to get to title insurance, you have to have a title search. So again, title searches are the most basic element of purchasing real estate. Title insurance is almost a necessity anymore in this day and age. To have title insurance issued, you need to hire a licensed title agent who's licensed, bonded, has a lot of requirements on them to stay up on continuing education courses, to stay up on the laws and et cetera. But all lenders, if you're getting a loan from a bank, any lender almost always is going to make you purchase title insurance for them. There are two types of title insurance. There's an owner's title policy and there's a lender's title policy. All lenders will always make sure that you're purchasing lender's title insurance for them, and they make it a part of your closing costs. They will not give you the money unless they get a policy of insurance from a licensed title agent who also acts as the title settlement agent later on for the closing. It goes hand in hand, ensuring that if they had to foreclose at any time while this loan is in effect, that the title is not going to be a problem. That's how important title is because lenders won't give you money without it. Usually, we will always issue an owner's title policy simultaneously. The difference is the lender makes you buy it where you don't have to buy an owner's policy. However, it is very, very common and wise on the part of a buyer to also just purchase owner's insurance. I know in my office, we almost automatically will issue owner's title because it's only for a few dollars more that you're paying above the lender's policy that you're being forced to buy, that you were insured personally. Who wouldn't want to be insured personally if there was a problem when they went to resell? It's a one-time fee. You only pay it when you purchase the property. So it's good for as long as you own the property.
So title insurance, private mortgage insurance, homeowners insurance, flood insurance. There's all these different type of insurance policies that a buyer receives as a part of purchasing a home. Often I find first-time home buyers, especially maybe younger, don't always realize what the different policies mean, what the differences are, and why they're doing it. Can be very confusing.
It can be, but Jackie, as you know, having a competent real estate agency represent you as a buyer, it makes all the difference, because these are things that real estate agents will often. This is what they're there for. It's part of what they're there for, and it's to guide the client through the whole process. And I like yourself, Jackie, and all of your agents in your agency. They do a fantastic job of guiding people through the hoops.
But it's also a necessity to have a competent attorney.
We feel the same way about Attorney Richard Finucci in your office.
Yeah, it's because we were discussing during the break about how if you have the wrong lawyer, I mean, I'm not going to call the plumber to do my electrical work. You know, if a guy doesn't specialize in real estate, I need somebody who does this every day, who knows what he's doing, who's going to get me across the finish line.
So if there are title issues, or there is, and we often use these words and they're thrown around and sometimes people don't understand them, but if there's a cloud on the title, or it's not a clear and marketable title or a clean title, there's blemishes there. As a seller who's selling a property and these title issues come up, our agreement of sale, our contracts say if the seller cannot give good marketable title, things happen. And the buyer would therefore not be able. Now they applied for their loan, they did inspections, they did their title search, and here's this problem. What then?
Until the problem is resolved, you cannot proceed. You can't buy the property.
Are most title issues that are found, can you usually resolve them?
The good news is, Jackie, is that almost any title issue that we come across can be resolved. Now, sometimes they could be resolved very quickly, still within the time limits that are in most real estate contracts, and sometimes not. It depends on the nature of the problem.
Months.
There are so many different reasons as to why a title can be bad. And, we talked about liens specifically, judgments which create liens, but there are so many things. If the property had not been handed down properly through the chain of title, through time, if there's a missing interest of an heir who never signed off, if someone died and inheritance taxes weren't paid on that property, if there's a homeowners association that is owed dues, I mean, I could go on and on and on. There are numerous things. An unsatisfied mortgage, we often see that.
We often see that. It wasn't recorded.
And the lender's no longer around, hasn't been around in 30 years.
Right. That one deal we had a couple of years ago with the Medicaid. Remember that
yes.
They owed, there's all of these things that come out of the woodwork.
And I want to stop here and say it's important for listeners to understand. When realtors list properties, it is not part of our duty to do a title search. We don't do a title search. But oftentimes the public thinks maybe we should be conducting these title searches prior to putting a property up for sale.
No, absolutely not. It is no realtor's responsibility to do any type of title search to determine what may or may not be against the property. You're basically taking the owner's word for it when you enter into that listing agreement. And I know there are questions that you ask, basic questions. Do you have a mortgage on the property? I mean, that stuff but it all, because the next thing that happens is once the contract is signed, as you know, it now gets handed over to the title agent, to the settlement agent to do their job, because that is our job, not yours.
Thank you. Attorney Richard Finucci, would you please give us your contact information?
Certainly. My office is located in Blakely, Lackawanna County, 1711 Main Street. We have a website. Our phone number is 570-383-0652. Please give us a call if we can answer any of your questions. I have a wonderful staff. I must say, I'd be nowhere without them. They're all long-termers. They've been serving their sentence in my office for quite a time, but I would be nowhere without them, and they are extremely experienced and extremely pleasant.
Yes, they are. I can vouch for that. Pat, would you like to review a listing?
Yes. We have a side-by-side duplex home at 1330 Bryn Mawr Street in Scranton for $129,000. This home has 2 3-bedroom apartments with 1 bath. This home sits on a 40 by 125 lot with taxes of only $2,300 a year, and the units have separate utilities. There's off-street parking in the rear of the property, and this would be perfect for the investor, or you could live in one side and have the rent pay the mortgage. Also, all the appliances are included in the sale. That's a duplex in Scranton at 1330 Bryn Mawr Street for $129,000, and that's listed by Stacy Granza of our office.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate, and 94.3 The Talker. We'll be right back. In your past real estate experiences, did you find most agents were mediocre? At Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, we defy mediocrity by being relentless. Don't settle for average. Contact the Relentless at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. We have an excellent track record of serving the community for 50 plus years. Call 570-344-6724 or visit jruddy.com. That's jruddy.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with my husband, fellow realtor Pat Devaney.
And we're back in school.
Back with attorney Richard Finucci, longtime real estate attorney. Among other things, you do estate planning. You're also a solicitor for many townships.
Yes, and school districts. I represent several school districts.
Very good. And you're one of the 4 attorneys that conduct the sheriff's sales.
I have the distinct honor of being one of the 4 co-solicitors in the real estate department for Sheriff Mark McAndrew, and we do the sheriff sales, and also very fortunate to be one of the many experienced co-solicitors for Lackawanna County Tax Claim Bureau, doing a lot of the judicial tax sales.
So you know your stuff. You are the perfect person to be talking about sheriff sales, tax sales. We were just talking before the break about liens, judgments, and title issues and title insurance. Now that we've been talking about title insurance, can someone get title insurance on a property purchased from a sheriff or tax sale?
So you can, Jackie. It's just that it may be difficult. It's going to depend on the circumstances, as most things in my business does. The facts are very important. However, the general rule with most title companies, including my own, Fidelity National Title, is that they will not allow us to insure any property that came out of a tax sale under 1 year. Some companies take the position 2 years, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So it can be dangerous to try to purchase a property and ask for title insurance if it just came out of a tax sale.
Okay. Sometimes flippers, when they purchase a property, and a lot of times flippers look at the sheriff sales and the tax sales because they get the deal, and they need to buy low. That's how I put it. They buy at a low price in order to put in work, turn around, and sell for a profit. One of the significant parts of being successful in the flipping business is to be able to sell in a short amount of time. So if they can't, if the new buyer is unable to obtain title insurance, unless they're paying cash and are willing to take the risk of not insuring the title, right? So flipping can be something that is held up.
It can be. Remember that most flippers will have paid cash for the property, meaning that they didn't take out a loan to purchase it. They used their own funds to buy. Their own funds to invest into the rehab of the property, and then, of course, they are anxious to sell because they want to get their money back as quickly as possible, only to find out that maybe there's a problem. Now, most experienced flippers will have already anticipated all this, and they will have covered all their bases to make sure that the title, when they, that they probably did their title search before they purchased. That often happens. And maybe they had to do some post-purchase things to clear things up. Sometimes outside of a judicial sale is to have a quiet title action done. I see a lot of flippers who will go ahead and expend the funds and hire a lawyer to do a quiet title action. So when they go to sell the property 6 months or more down the road, they're not going to have any issues. But again, you need the importance of title insurance is you're protecting your investment. And remember, the title insurance rates are regulated by the state of Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Insurance Department regulates all title insurance companies, and we're all the same. And it's based on the higher of the purchase price or the loan amount. So if it's a lender's policy, it's based on the loan amount. If it's an owner's policy, it's based on the purchase price. And that's one rate for everybody. One time.
Right. One time, and it's a standard set fee.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to ask your opinion on flipped homes, properties being purchased. A lot of buyers these days, they want a home that they can move into. All the work is done. And oftentimes they're looking at properties that were flipped. Flipper is selling them, and they have brand new kitchens, new baths. They look great. Are there any problems or anything that they should be thinking about other than the fact that it looks beautiful?
Well, Jackie, like the purchase of any home, not just a flip home, it's extremely important, one, to first review the seller's disclosure statement that is provided at the time of the signing of the contract. As you know, Pennsylvania law requires seller disclosure statements, whether you're a flipper or if you've owned the home for 50 years. You have to fill out a seller's disclosure statement. Often the only ones exempt from that are estates where they're, selling the property right out of an estate. So that's number one. Number two, and probably way more importantly, is to have a home inspection done. I don't care if this property was rehabbed from the eaves to the baseboard. You need to have a home inspection done because often, while there are some very, very talented and very, very good flippers out there, they're contractors, so they take pride in their work. The opposite is also true. So it's like anything. You need to look at the work that was done. You need to have a professional give you an opinion as to whether this work was done properly, whether the quality of the materials are there, all of those things. It's buyer beware. And this is why when entering into a real estate transaction as a buyer, having, again, a very competent realtor guiding you to go over all this and point you in the right direction, having a home inspection done, having a competent title agency / attorney represent you. This is all part and parcel of a home purchase. Well,
I do have to say, though, that in the last 2 years, because inventory has been so tight and competition has been so great, a lot of buyers purchased homes without a home inspection.
Yes.
And I think we're going to start hearing about the regrets of that decision as the market cools down.
That's a huge mistake.
A lot of people waived it. I'm sure you saw a lot of contracts that waived them.
We do. And I too agree that is can be a very costly mistake.
Attorney Richard Finucci, how does someone get in touch with you?
My phone number is 570-383-0652. Look me up on the internet. We have a website, Law Offices of Richard Finucci. We're located at 1711 Main Street in Blakely in Lackawanna County. We do service primarily Lackawanna County. We do a lot of Upper Luzerne County. We do Susquehanna, Wayne, Wyoming. So we do go outside of Lackawanna
You're a
County.
Busy office, and I want to shout out to Nadine, Maureen, and Kathy.
Yes. My three aces in the hole.
That's right. They're lifers.
My right arm, left arm, and everything else.
Right. Well, they're great, and they're a wonderful asset to you. And you must provide a happy workspace because they've been there for a long time.
I'm a fortunate person.
Very, very much so. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Remember, we're here next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on 94.3 The Talker.